Good evening. The time is exactly 7 o'clock right here in the studios of Hitzafrik Radio. It is 19 hours GMT and you're logged on to Hitzafrik Radio. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share it to all our social media handles. We are live bringing you the news this evening. Moving on to the headlines for tonight's stories. My name is Abdullah and stay tuned. Armed robbers killed Ali Ahmed. Handover postures. Prosecution court hiding things from court. These and many other stories will come your way this evening. Stay tuned as I bring you the news in details. Armed robbers kill Ali Ahmed Maikano. Indicated that armed robbers have attacked the killed Sheikh Ali Ahmed Makaino Abdul Fali Jallo, the popular son of late Ghanaian Tiniya cleric Ahmed Michael Jallo of Prague. The sad incident which occurred this dawn reportedly took place at the Abromase Road, where Ali Maikano Jallo and his entourage were headed for a mileage event where he was a special guest. The armed robbers blocked the road and were robbing travelers, opening fire in the process, which caught Ali Makaino. Police have said launched a manhunt for the robbers and is asking for help from the general public. Tributes have since been pouring in for him, with many calling him a peacemaker in the height tensions between his father, the late Maikano Jallo, and the Alusuna sect, and later between father and National Chief Imam Usman Nuhu Sharubutu of Fadama. Ali Maikano has been expected to replace his father as Khalifa when the old man died, but he stood down, opting to wait for the turn later. But that is not to be. The crown of Maikano Jallo therefore passed on to the elder son Khalifa Abul Fali Maikano Jallo to take the seat. Prague in the Bronx Ahafo region will witness huge crowds of visitors who are expected to throng the place to mourn their beloved Ali Maikano. Following our publications, several tributes have been stated pouring in for him since his death was announced. In other stories, charges against Ernest Thompson are thus inappropriate. The Supreme Court has ruled that charges leveled against a former Director General of the Social Security and National Insurance Trust, SNET, Mr. Ernest Thompson, and four others by the state are inappropriate. Mr. Thompson and four others have been accused of causing a financial loss of more than $14.8 million in the SNET Operational Business Suite (OBS) project. In an unanimous judgment, the five-member panel of Supreme Court, presided over by Justice Iyao Appel, said the charges preferred against the accused persons do not meet the constitutional requirement. This was after the state had gone to the Apex Court to challenge the Court of Appeal's ruling that the particulars of offense leveled against Thompson were scanty. The panel chaired by Justice Iyao Appel ruled that the Apex Court is in agreement with the ruling of the Court of Appeal, and so there is no merit in the application and dismissed same. The presiding judge, after the court's dismissal of the application, charged the Director of Public Prosecution, Mrs. Yvonne Atakura Obuabisa, who represented the state, to go back and to look at the charges and provide enough particulars to them. Moving on to other stories, your handover order prosperous. The former Auditor General, Daniel Yao Dumelovo, has described as prosperous in an order by the board chairman, Professor Edward Gia Ajiman, to hand over to the Acting Director General, Johnson Ekwuamwa Isiedu. In a response to the board chairman, Mr. Dumelovo stated that after handing over to the Ekwuamwa ahead of his leave in 2024, nothing was handed over back to him when he resumed in March this year. Therefore, he has nothing to hand over to Mr. Ekwuamwa. Mr. Dumelovo, in his response, stated that for him to hand over, the acting Auditor General must hand over to him before he can thereafter hand over to him. In other stories, prosecution caught hiding vital documents from court. Chief Inspector Thomas Brempe Messer, the investigator of the trial of the former Cocoa Board boss, and two others, was cut off guard after vital documents the prosecution was accused of hiding took center stage in the court. One of the documents, which was a final report prepared by Mr. Paul Sian, the then head of Organized Crime Unit of EOCO, when it was ordered to hand over investigation into the case to the police CID, which made certain interesting disclosures favorable to the accused persons. There is also another document which happens to be the second scientific report carried out by the Ghana Standards Authority to lithograph fertilizer, which is at the center of the trial. The former Cocoa Chief Executive Director, Dr. Stephen Okuni, and businessman Mr. Seidu Agongo are facing 27 charges, including willfully causing financial loss to the state and contravention of the Public Procurement Act. They have both pleaded not guilty to the charges and are on a 300,000 Ghana cedi self-recognizance bail each. Counsel for Mr. Esiedu Agongo, who is the second accused person, Nutifafa Nuchupri, succeeded in tendering in evidence some vital documents during cross-examination of the seventh prosecution witness, Chief Inspector. Obviously, unprepared for questions on those documents, the trial investigator pleaded with the court for time to refresh his memory. Lawyer Nutifafa, who appears to have a well-thought-out strategy for an onslaught, did not mince with words in accusing the trial investigator and, by extension, the Attorney General of hiding the truth from the court. Sir, you see, I am putting it to you that the only reason that the second test report of the July 2017 from JSA is not part of the documentation before this court is that it defeats your narrative that you have built for the case. Nutifafa Nuchukwi, who is holding brief for Benson Nuchukwi, told the court. But a witness parade, my lord, that is never so at all. In all, EOCO received 3 significant reports as the part of the investigation, one of them from the Department of the University of Ghana and 2 from the Ghana Standards Authority. The first test from the Ghana Standards Authority, which results was submitted to the EOCO on 5th May 2017, was carried out at the Cosmetics, Drugs, Forensic and Toxicology Department. Experts have raised eyebrow as to how a fertilizer would be tested at that department. Lawyer Nutifafa in February 2020 told the court that the sample for the first test was diluted and intentionally sent to the wrong department. Seidu Agongo, whose company, Agricult Ghana Limited, produces the lithograph fertilizer, contested the result when he was invited by EOCO. Moving on to other stories, I don't know who recorded it. A police investigator on the criminal case involving the chairman of the National Democratic Congress, NDC, Samuel Ofosu Ampofo, has told an Accra High Court that he has no idea who recorded the alleged tape of the NDC man plotting crime surfaced from. Detective Chief Inspector Bernard Berkon, who was under cross-examination by Ofosu Ampofo's lawyer, Tony Lether, insisted he did not know who recorded the audio when he was queried about the individual behind the voice recording. He was then questioned on the possibility of the source of the tape being a national security operative, for which he maintained his position of not being aware. So that recording could have been made by a national security operative, could it not? The lawyer asked, and the witness replied, I don't know who recorded it. Detective Chief Inspector Berkon, who is the third prosecution witness in the case, during cross-examination by the defendant's lawyer, was mostly questioned about the venue of the alleged meeting between NDC communicators, the purpose of the meeting, and the person who recorded the meeting, and whether the attendees consented to be recorded. The witness was asked whether he was able to establish through his investigation the location of the said meeting, and the chief inspector told the court that his investigation showed the meeting took place at the national headquarters of the NDC at Adabraka in Ghana. Moving on to other stories in African countries, as Nigeria. Violent fights in Nigeria's Kwara State over hijab in Christian schools. Tension ran high in Ilorin, capital of Nigeria's Kwara State, as Muslims and Christians violently clashed over the use of hijab in state schools controlled by the church. The violent exchanges of today were specifically at the Baptist Secondary School, where prisoners of both faith threw stones and plastic chairs at each other in the standoff. Police fired tear gas in order to restore order, multiple local media portals reported. A BBC report said only one out of the 10 affected schools allowed students to hijab to enter classrooms. The remaining institutions insisted that they will not allow students to despise the state governor's orders to do so. Leader of the Baptist Conference in Kwara insists they will defend their faith and property so as the Kwara state government refuses to obey the law of the land. In Senegal opposition warns President Sall against third-term dream. Senegalese opposition leader Ousmane Sonko continues to go ahead with the authorities. On Tuesday, Sonko announced once again put pressure on Senegal's President Macky Sall. During a press conference in Dakar, the leader of the PACE opposition party announced his intention to bring the West African country's religious figures into the debate. We ask the religious authority to help because nothing can come out of a dialogue held only between political actors and to be guarantors of what should be done, especially on the questions of the third mandate. We don't want to hear about it anymore. Moving on to another story in South Africa. An African team must win the World Cup. 4 days after being elected president of the Confederation of African Football (CAF), Patrice Motsepe set out his plans to take the sport forward across the continent at the press conference in Johannesburg on Tuesday. The 59-year-old South African mining billionaire assumed the role on Friday at a CAF general meeting in Morocco, without the need for a vote after a deal brokered by the world governing body FIFA saw his three challengers withdraw, leaving him as the only candidate. Motsepe said that African football must aspire to have one of their national teams win the World Cup in the near future. In other stories of Niger, gunmen killed at least 58 civilians in attack on Niger convoy. Armed men in southwestern Nigeria have killed at least 58 people where they intercepted a convoy returning from a weekly market and attacked a nearby village, the government said on Tuesday. The attacks on Monday occurred in the Tilaberi region, which is near the border with Mali and Burkina Faso, and has seen increasingly deadly attacks by armed groups active across the region, with links to ISIS, and Al Qaeda. The announcement was read on Niger state television on Tuesday evening by government spokesman Abohar Zakaria, who declared 3 days of national mourning for the victims. Moving on to other stories, here lies the end of the local news. Moving on to the foreign stories. Stay tuned, we will be right back.
Hitzafrik Acting Club, UK. Advertise your products and services on Hitzafrik Radio every day of the week. Send us details of your products or services on the WhatsApp number and we'll give you a quote. You are still watching the Logo Ligi show on Hitzafrik TV.
You're still logged on to www.modernghana.com. This is the Hitzafrik Radio. We are streaming live here in Ghana. You can as well download the TuneIn app and log in. We are live on Facebook and YouTube at Hitzafrik Radio. Now let's do some foreign stories in the United States. US will not take sides on UK. The Biden administration will not take sides in the British-European Union rift over the movement of the goods to Northern Ireland. A senior United States official has said ahead of a meeting between President Joe Biden and Irish Prime Minister Michael Martin. Biden and Martin are set to meet virtually on Tuesday. The Christian holiday of St. Patrick's Day as disputes between the United Kingdom and the European Union simmer over the implementation of Brexit agreement on Northern Ireland. The dispute has raised tensions in the region more than 2 decades after the 1998 peace deal, known as Good Friday or Belfast Agreement, largely ended 3 decades of violence between mostly Protestant unionists who want Northern Ireland to stay in the UK and mostly Catholic nationalists looking to unite the Irish Republic and Northern Ireland. The US government had welcomed provisions in both the EU and UK trade and cooperation agreement as well as the Northern Ireland Protocol, which we believe helps protect the gains of Belfast's Good Friday Agreement, said a senior Biden administration official who previewed the meeting between Biden and Martin. In other stories, UN sounds alarm over COVID deaths of children in South Africa, Asia. Pandemic may have indirectly contributed to around 228,000 additional child deaths in 2020, UN report says. The coronavirus pandemic may have indirectly contributed to around 228,000 additional child deaths in 2020, 11,000 maternal fatalities, and 3.5 million unwanted pregnancies in South Asia, the United Nations has said in a report. The study, commissioned by the UNICEF and published on Wednesday, blamed drastic cuts in the availability of use of essential public health services because of the pandemic across India, Pakistan, Nepal, Bangladesh, Afghanistan, and Sri Lanka, home to 1.8 billion people. It is absolutely vital that these services are fully restored for children and mothers who are in desperate need of them, and that everything possible is done to ensure that people feel safe to use them. With some 420 million children in South Asia out of school due to the pandemic, the report also warned that 9 million children were likely to never return to school, the report added. Moving on to other stories, coronavirus pandemic, Moderna begins testing its COVID-19 vaccine on children. Moderna Inc. said it has begun delivering experimental doses of its COVID-19 vaccine to children as part of a study to determine whether it is safe and effective in those as young as 6 months. The trial aims to enroll about 6,750 volunteers in the US and Canada. The US's National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases and Biomedical Advanced Research and Development Authority are collaborating with the company, Moderna said in a statement. This pediatric study will help us assess the potential safety and immunogenicity of our COVID-19 vaccine in this younger age population, Moderna CEO Stephanie Bassel said. Here lies the end of the foreign news. Let's move on to the entertainment news. Stay tuned.
Hitzafrik Acting Club, UK. Advertise your products and services on Hitzafrik Radio every day of the week. Send us details of your products or services on the WhatsApp number and we'll give you a quote. You are still watching the Logo Ligi show on Hitzafrik TV.
You're still tuned in to www.modernghana.com on the tuning app at Hitzafrik Radio. We are live on Facebook and YouTube at Hitzafrik Radio. You can as well follow us on all our social media handles at Hitzafrik Radio. Follow our website at www.hitzafrikradio.org for more news and entertainment. Now let's do some entertainment news. MOG Music's wife helped me to connect with her husband for collaboration. Jacqueline Ofori Wa Amanfo has disclosed how interestingly she was able to connect with the award-winning gospel artist Nana Yabuache, also known as MOG Music, for collaboration. In an exclusive interview with filmmaker SK Beat Records on the exclusive interview show, Jacqueline revealed that she was able to get connection with one Be Lifted Kuna through this amazing wife. I went through the usual process, though, to get him on board, but the wife played a major role. She's amazing, she said. Not long ago, Jacqueline Oforia Amanfo hosted her first musical concert, JOA Live, a virtual praise and worship program which was broadcast live on seek.com. The JOA Live program had MOG Business and other new gospel entrants Jehoshaphat Aqua on the bill. Jacqueline is a talented songwriter, composer, and singer who is gradually becoming a daily talk on lips of gospel music lovers. She has shared stage with Joe Metal, Akesi Brimpong, Christ Bloodline Crew, etc., Efe Grace, Samuel Smith, Ghanaian UK-based gospel singer, Nava Music, and a host of others. Jacqueline is currently out with a new track, This Is Love. Here lies the end of the news for tonight. Stay tuned as I bring you a recap of the headlines. You are old, but none of your song is sensible. Armed robbers killed all Ali Ahmed Bakayoko. Armed robbers killed all Ali Ahmed Maikano. Charges against Ernest Thompson and others inappropriate. Johan over prejudicious. Prosecution caught hiding vital documents from the court. This and many other stories I brought your way this evening. My name is Abna Ahinya. Stay tuned for more music and entertainment.
Hitzafrik Acting Club, UK.